There's two types of people in this world. There's doers and there's dreamers. It doesn't matter where you are in the scale, but doers are the people who make something of their position. They may just be the people who work a 9 to 5, but they're comfortable with it. They may be the people who go on to create big companies. A lot of young people, especially of our generation, seem to have this concept that life's coming to them. And a lot of these people are very ambitious. We live in a time of great opulence, as much as it may not feel like it. We have the ability to make anything for ourselves. Even on the internet, look at how much money you can make. A lot of people have big dreams now, but they are lazy, right? Big ambitions and high laziness. And if you fall into this category, you're the kind of person who wants all of these things, says that all of these things are going to happen, but they never actually come to fruition, you never actually get on with it, this video could be for you. The first thing that anybody who falls into this category needs to realise is, well, it's not coming for you. There's a lot of things in life that we all want, there's a lot of things that we all dream of, but the reality of it is, resources are limited, and life is a very competitive game. If you're the kind of person who always dreams and never actually does anything, you will quickly realise that you are in a very competitive world, in a very competitive market, and with that being said, you will face a lot of challenges. Everything is competitive, and everything that you want is likely wanted by somebody else. The car that you want may be wanted by hundreds of people, maybe thousands, maybe millions. The house that you want, the lifestyle that you want is wanted by hundreds of people. Again, maybe millions of people around the world. All of these things are to play for, but all of these things are what we call limited resources. And every day that lazy, ambitious people, people who want to do stuff, sit on these things, is a day that ambitious, driven people work on them. And what that means is that day to day, the divide does start to widen. It does become harder and harder to keep up with all of these different things. And this is what I think a lot of people forget or fail to realise. We're in a time where you are going to be challenged with a lot of these things. And with that being the case, you've kind of got more to gain than ever before. Where we sit right now is a very unique time, because we're kind of in the middle of a lot of different transitions, sort of socially, perhaps culturally, and also in terms of economics as well. So what that means is it doesn't matter what front you're looking at, the front of money, the front of life. There's more opportunities now, and new opportunities opening up that have never been true before, that have never been seen before. And if that truly is the market that we're in, everything's to play for. And again, if you're lazy ambitious, I think that the world can be a very frustrating place, because you know what you want, but you don't necessarily know how to get there. And I think what a lot of sort of lazy ambitious people lack is actionable goals. This is a big point that I always make, right? Because when you're super ambitious, but you're lazy, you don't necessarily know how to work on things and what to work on. And the reality is, everything is moving you forwards. When you don't know what to work on, I say work on something, right? If you want to get a supercar, let's say, and I use the example of something that's, monetary, because it's a very easy to understand example. You may think that working in a job is not going to get you there, and of course, long term it's not. But if you don't have a job right now, it's the start of something. And I think what drives a lot of lazy, ambitious people, or what doesn't drive them, let's change it up. I think what fails to drive them is a position of privilege. And I may be wrong with this, but most of the lazy, ambitious people that I've met have been in one of two camps. Number one, they have been poor for all of their life, to the point where they can't see a way out. And what that means is they have a lot of ambition, but usually not an education or willpower to facilitate the transition to success. And that to me makes a bit of sense, because think about it, it's like, oh, my dad was poor, my granddad was poor, so the same's probably true for me. Am I going to be the first person out of 5-10 generations to break the cycle? Now, of course, the answer can be yes, but if we talk about perhaps what goes through these people's mind, that could be it. That makes a lot more sense to me, because again, there is an understandable sort of mindset there. The majority of the lazy, ambitious people that I meet come from actually quite privileged backgrounds though. The sort of middle class families who, growing up, didn't have to worry about money. There was holidays, parents had cars, everything was comfortable. And what seems to happen is when these people get to maturity and adulthood, they have the big ambitions that they were that was instilled into them. But whilst they still have that same level of drive, the idea of success seems to be a God-given birthright because, if you imagine it, if you grow up in a world where everything comes for free, right? Like, I've made no secret of the fact before that I grew up quite poor, right? So if you wanted something, you had to save for it or you had to get it. Now imagine a situation where that wasn't the case. And if you grew up in the kind of world where, you wanted an Xbox for Christmas, so an Xbox was under the tree, just naturally, of course as an adult you think when you want a Lamborghini, in a couple of years a Lamborghini's just going to come. The reality of that could not be further from the truth. It couldn't be further from the truth. And I think the world right now, as much as we like to complain and say, cost of living crisis and all this sort of stuff, it is a world of great privilege. And everything's seen as a God-given right for a lot of people. The fact of the matter is, and it's a cliche, but it is the truth, no one's coming to save you in life, right? No one's coming to save you. There's never going to be a point where you're going to be walking down the street and someone's going to go, you look like you'd be a good CEO of our company. Not if you're not in the right circles and places to begin with, if you get yourself to that point, but even that is work, right? So, it's not coming. Yet again, it's another one of these situations where it is not coming to lazy, ambitious people. And when you're lazy, ambitious, it seems like that's where you have the greatest amount of potential that just gets wasted. A lot of the time this potential then goes onto the wrong means. It goes onto the wrong means because as ambitious people who did not have a privileged upbringing, you have to, or you learn certain things about money and the world very, very young. So for instance, I already knew from the age of like 15 that, hey, work is not the way to get rich, because I saw my parents working hard, full-time, and we didn't have that much money. Now, obviously, it wasn't high-skilled jobs, but at the same point, you get what I'm saying, right? So I always knew that was a lie. And you learn a lot of stuff as somebody who's... Basically, it gives you a drive, it gives you an ambition. But when you're lazy ambitious, you don't have the same drive. You have the same wants, but not the same drive. And these are the people who face a big shock, I think, from what I've seen, in their 30s, when they have this sort of pre-midlife crisis of realising that, it's not coming. Now, I've just been waiting in an office for a promotion. Now, no hate at all to anybody that does work in an office or anything, but you get the point, right? People are expecting this lifestyle increase that is not going to come. If you're lazy ambitious, it's about taking control, and this video is more of a motivation. It's obviously not a psychoanalysis, that's kind of not what I do on this channel, but my point is this. There are people who will outwork you, and I used to make this mistake even at some points in my past, perhaps as a coping mechanism, the concept that I might not be where I want to be, but hey, I'm 18, or I'm 20, or, and then how far on does this go? I'm not where I want to be, but I'm 50. Well, now that's actually embarrassing, or you're at least behind at the very least, we can say that. And this is what lazy, ambitious people need to realise. Again, I've said it before, but it is not coming. You need to be the master of your own destiny. Understand that your worldview may be wrong. I understand that to become actionable ambitious, you need to put small steps in place. Now, these don't have to be big things. It doesn't mean that you have to start a 6-figure business this year. I'm talking about things like, get out of bed on time, do an extra task, join one club. It depends what you want to actualize in your life, but you need to actualize something if you want to make things happen. So yeah, guys, if you're lazy, ambitious, look, you're the guys with the highest potential, absolutely, no matter which part of life or whatever walk of life you come from. You have the same drive as everybody else, but you are up against ambitious people, properly ambitious people, who will work. So you guys need to get on with it. You need to make small steps and realise, it's not coming. And I know this is a challenge. I'm not saying it's easy. It's very, very hard, especially when you need to unlearn everything that you know. But at the same time, it's small steps. And when you realise that you're actually starting to make progress, here's the trouble that I think a lot of people make as well. People say that it's going to lead to a slight period of unhappiness, maybe a year or 2 or 5. Yes, it is. But trust me, it's likely worth it for almost all of you guys.